When a woman distances herself from you and ignore you, just do this. Modern Stoic. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Franklin D. Roosevelt. Let's get straight to the point. If you're a man facing the situation where a woman starts distancing herself, ignoring your texts, becoming emotionally distant, or pulling away in a way that leaves you feeling lost or unsure, know this: 99% of men panic. They call more, they try harder, and they desperately chase after her. But here's the truth: this approach only weakens your position. When you chase, you give up your power, you sacrifice your self-respect, and in doing so, confirm her belief that she's in control and you're on the brink of desperation. It's painful. No doubt, you care about her. You saw potential in the connection, and now she's distant, maybe even ignoring you entirely. That shift in her behavior can make any man question his value, his confidence, and even his own masculinity. But here's the crucial insight you need to remember: her withdrawal often has very little to do with you. It could be a test, emotional or strategic, or simply her seeking excitement elsewhere. How you react, however, speaks volumes about your own self-worth and emotional stability. This isn't about reacting in an emotionally driven way. It's about responding like a man who understands his own value. When you stand firm in the face of her silence, when you resist the urge to chase and instead embrace your own strength, you shift the dynamic. You go from being the one who chases to the one who is now on her mind, the one she begins to chase. This message is for the man who's tired of being caught in confusion, frustration, and helplessness when a woman distances herself. I'm here to provide you with real, actionable strategies that will allow you to respond to her emotional shifts with confidence. In today's world of modern dating, emotional control is power and attention is the currency. Let's dive into what you can do to regain control and maintain your value. 1. Do not chase her. When a woman starts distancing herself and ignoring you, the temptation to chase her can feel overwhelming. It seems like the natural instinct to follow. She pulls back. So you move forward, she stays silent. So you send more messages. She gets cold. So you warm her up with compliments and gifts. But here's the thing. This is exactly the wrong move. The mistake you're making is that by chasing her, you're only confirming her doubts and reducing your value in her eyes. When a woman steps back, she's testing your emotional strength, losing attraction, or simply exploring other options. If you respond by pursuing her out of desperation, you're just confirming that you have no options of your own, which is the last thing she finds attractive. A modern Stoic man understands this. He never begs for attention or forces a connection. Instead, he steps back and allows others to reveal themselves, showing emotional resilience and strength. The blessing of Stoicism here is simple. You must be secure enough to walk away when your energy isn't being reciprocated. Women are not drawn to men they pity. They are drawn to men who are confident enough to detach and move on when necessary. So, when she pulls away, don't panic. Don't start calling her repeatedly, doubling down with texts, or obsessively checking her stories for a clue. That's what emotionally needy men do. Women recognize it immediately. Instead, let her feel your absence. Let her experience the void left by your presence, your attention, your energy. The beauty of this approach is in its simplicity. When you stop chasing, you become unpredictable. Unpredictability is magnetic. It sparks curiosity, and curiosity sparks interest. When interest is rekindled, attraction follows. The power shifts from her to you, but only if you learn to pull back your energy without any drama, without confrontation, Silence becomes your weapon, not weakness, but the profound strength that comes from self-control. You're not here to play games or make her feel guilty. You're here to protect your self-worth. If she needs distance, then you match that distance. But you do it with dignity, without bitterness or resentment. The modern Stoic knows that chasing someone is a sign of desperation, a surrender of personal power. The man who does not chase forces her to sit with her decision and feel the consequences of her actions. And it is in this silence that the power dynamic begins to shift. She will wonder why you didn't react, why you didn't chase after her. She'll start questioning herself, asking, what is he doing now? Why didn't he reach out? The blessing of Stoicism is that you do not need to answer her questions. You do not need to chase her down. Your peace and value are non-negotiable. A man who understands the art of detachment is never desperate. And that is exactly what women respect the most. So remember this: don't chase. Do not let your actions show emotional desperation. When you stop chasing, you stop seeking validation. Instead, you give off the calm, controlled presence that is so rare in the world today. A presence that makes her think twice. A modern Stoic never oversteps, never pleads, and never reacts impulsively. He respects her space, and in turn, gains her respect. Keep your value high by letting your absence do the talking. 2. Focus on yourself immediately. Once you've stopped chasing, the next step is critical. It's time to focus on yourself immediately. And I mean, fully and completely redirect every ounce of your energy, every thought, every effort back into your own life. This isn't about sitting around obsessively replaying the last text or stalking her online, trying to make sense of what went wrong. Forget that. This is about you, your mind, your body, your business, your goals. Let me be blunt. When a woman pulls away, she creates an emotional void. The trap most men fall into is trying to fill that gap with more thoughts about her. You replay that last text, analyzing each word, wondering if you should have said something different. You ask friends for advice, hoping they have the magic answer, but none of that helps. It only keeps you stuck in a loop of confusion and emotional vulnerability. What truly helps is this: redirect that energy. Instead of pouring your time into worrying about her, use that mental space to focus on what builds you up. Get selfish in the best way possible. Invest that energy into becoming the man you were meant to be, the man who doesn't depend on anyone for validation. This is your time. Double down on your fitness, hit the gym harder than you ever have before. Spend more time on your business or career, sharpen your skills, and look for ways to make real strides. Upgrading your look, absolutely. Reinvent your daily routine, your habits, and your mindset. And here's the key. Don't do any of this to make her regret walking away. No. You're doing it for one reason and one reason alone. You owe it to yourself. The old Stoic wisdom tells us that we must place our value on the things that are truly in our control. You can control your actions, your growth, and your goals, and you must prioritize them. You are the prize. It's time to act like it again. Not for her, but for you. Women have an uncanny ability to sense when a man's world revolves entirely around them. And the moment they sense this, they lose respect. The truth is, no one respects someone who is dependent on them for happiness or validation. It's a subtle but powerful shift. If you are consumed with thoughts of her, you send a message that you lack direction and purpose, that your emotional well-being hinges on her. But when she sees that you've refocused, when she feels that your life moves forward with or without her, that's when the tides start to turn. She'll start to take notice again. Not because you've done something to get her attention, but because you've shifted your energy into becoming a man who is independent, self-sufficient, and centered. What happens next is incredibly powerful. When a woman sees that your life doesn't revolve around her, she starts to realize something: you're not just another guy clinging for validation. You are a man with purpose, with a sense of direction, and with an inherent value that doesn't need her to affirm it. That's magnetic. That's a man who stands tall in his own life, who doesn't need anyone else to complete him. Here's what most men miss: the best way to win her back isn't by focusing all your energy on getting her back. The best way to win her back is by working on becoming the kind of man she regrets walking away from. The kind of man who knows his worth and doesn't let anyone take it for granted. Stoic life teaches us that true power comes from within. It's not about being desperate or manipulative. It's about embodying your worth and letting the world, including her, recognize it. When you do this, you stop trying to chase and start becoming a man who is so confident in his value that people, including her, are drawn to it. You must understand this the moment you stop worrying about her and start focusing on yourself. Everything shifts. When you focus on your own growth, you allow her to witness the man you are becoming, not the man you once were. And that shift, moving from emotional dependency to self-assurance, is when you start to truly understand the Stoic lessons that have been around for centuries. Stoicism isn't just about controlling your emotions, it's about redirecting your energy into what matters most: your own growth and self-worth. So, don't waste another moment of your life fixating on someone who has pulled away. Use that energy to create a better version of yourself. Become a man who stands strong, with purpose and vision. When you do, you won't just become the man she might regret losing. You'll become the man you can look at in the mirror and be proud of, no matter what anyone else thinks. The blessing of Stoicism lies in this: you don't need anyone to define your worth. You already know it. Keep moving forward, keep evolving, and let the world catch up. If you found this valuable, comment below, and share it with someone who could benefit. Don't forget to subscribe for more wisdom. Comment to remember: I am a man with purpose, direction, and value. This is a reminder that your worth is inherent. Focus on yourself, elevate your life, and watch how the world responds. 3. Match her energy without bitterness. When a woman distances herself or pulls back from you, it's easy to feel like you need to react quickly, to do something dramatic or desperate to win her attention again. But that's exactly the wrong mindset. In those moments, you must do the opposite of what your instincts tell you. You must align yourself with Stoic principles, the very essence of emotional control, self-discipline, and rational thought. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoics in history, taught that the key to mastery over life and emotions lies not in reacting impulsively to what others do, but in maintaining calm, order, and control within yourself. When a woman distances herself, do not overextend yourself or chase after her. Do not take it personally. Do not fight the current. Instead, match her energy calmly and without bitterness. This is where your power lies. In these moments, your power is not in manipulating her emotions, creating drama, or trying to pull her back through force or guilt. Your power lies in your emotional self-control, your ability to maintain your own frame and peace even when external circumstances change. Too many men allow their egos to dictate their actions when faced with a woman's silence or withdrawal. They take it as an insult, as if her pulling away is a reflection of their inadequacy or failure. But this mindset is destructive. It triggers insecurity, fear of loss, and a desire to regain control in a way that is reactive and counterproductive. Suddenly, they become angry, cold, sarcastic, or passive-aggressive. They start making accusations: she's fake, ungrateful, or manipulative. These are all signs of emotional leakage, a desperate attempt to regain control by creating drama. But in reality, all this does is show weakness. It reveals that you cannot handle pressure, that you cannot maintain your emotional discipline when things aren't going your way. It shows that you lack control over your emotions. This is exactly what pushes her away, further solidifying her desire to keep her distance. But here's the key. The man who has mastered Stoic principles knows how to react differently. He remains calm and composed. He matches her energy without allowing his emotions to spiral out of control. If she becomes slow to respond, so does he. If she stops calling, he stops calling. If she needs space, he gives it freely, without resentment, without bitterness, and without any ulterior motive. This is not about being indifferent or cold. It's about emotional discipline. It's about understanding that the true measure of a man's strength is not in his ability to control others, but in his ability to control himself. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is where true masculinity lies. Women are not repelled by space, they are repelled by insecurity. If you react to her silence with panic or desperation, she will sense your need for her validation. And that need will drive her further away. But if she feels that her distance does not affect you, that it does not disturb your peace, she will begin to question her own actions. She will wonder why you are unaffected. This is the essence of the modern Stoic man. You don't react because you don't need to. You're in control of your own frame. You maintain your peace, your composure, and your dignity, regardless of external circumstances. In modern life, this is a powerful advantage. Many men are caught in a cycle of chasing validation and approval. They respond emotionally to everything that happens in their relationships. They fight for attention, argue for affection, and try to manipulate situations to get what they want. But the Stoic man does not engage in these battles. He is not moved by the whims of others. He understands that life is full of shifts and changes. People will come and go. But the true measure of a man's strength is his ability to stand firm, unwavering in the face of adversity, in the face of change. He has mastered his mind, and in doing so, he has mastered his life. This is not about being cold or distant. It's about emotional discipline. When you learn to match her energy without bitterness, without chasing after her, you show that you are a man who is not swayed by external forces. You are a man who is not controlled by his emotions. And that is a powerful thing. It is not weakness, but strength. It is not desperation, but self-assurance. It is a sign of emotional maturity. Remember this. When a woman pulls away, it's not a reflection of your worth. It's a test of your strength. If you respond with insecurity, you will fail. If you respond with emotional discipline, with calm and resolve, you will succeed. You will rise above the drama and chaos. You will attract the right energy into your life, and she will respect you. Not because you are trying to control her, but because you have mastered yourself. You are stoic. You are the man who stands firm, regardless of the storm around you. So, embrace this mindset. Hold your frame. Let go of the need for approval. Let her pull away if she must. You will not chase. You will not beg. You will stand your ground, and you will remain unshaken. This is the modern Stoic way. This is how you master your life, your relationships, and your emotions. 4. Let her feel the consequences. When a woman pulls away, ignores you, or distances herself emotionally, most men panic. They rush to chase, to call, to plead, to somehow fix what feels broken. But this, my friend, is exactly what you must not do. The modern Stoic knows that this response is weak and counterproductive. Instead, embrace the blessing of Stoicism by allowing her to feel the consequences of her actions. No, not punishment, just the natural outcome of her withdrawal. Real strength lies not in reacting, but in responding. The most powerful men understand this. They do not chase or beg. They retreat, not with bitterness, but with quiet detachment and elevation. They become a man of mystery, a man who cannot be easily swayed by emotional turmoil. And this, my friend, is what creates power in the relationship. When she distances herself and you respond with silence, that silence is everything. But let me be clear, this is not a feigned silence, a pretending to be busy kind of silence. This is true silence. It's the quiet of emotional unavailability, where you do not wait for her attention, but where you are content with yourself. This silence, this blessing of Stoicism, speaks volumes. It tells her everything she needs to know. You are no longer willing to chase her. You are no longer needy or desperate for her validation. It's this absence, this void, that is more deafening than any words you could utter. Women, as much as they may deny it, are deeply emotional creatures. They feel things on a profound level, a shift in energy, a change in the way you treat her, even without words, can shake her to her core. So, when you suddenly withdraw your consistent attention, when you stop being available, when you stop waiting for her to engage, she notices, she feels it, and it hits her harder than any emotional outburst or frantic plea ever could. The quiet of your absence resonates in her soul. She begins to wonder, where is the man who used to give me his time? Where is the attention I took for granted? That feeling is powerful, and it is exactly what you want her to experience. But here's the thing. The modern Stoic knows that the key to this silence isn't just being silent. It's being silent in a way that makes her realize the true value of your presence. You must let her feel what it's like to live without you. You must let her face the emptiness that comes when she no longer has access to your energy, your time, or your affection. And when she does, it forces her to reckon with her choices. She'll have to confront her own emotions, her own fears, and ultimately, her own need for you. That's when the power of Stoicism becomes clear. You may wonder why this work, why silence, not confrontation. It's simple. In a world filled with noise where everyone is vying for attention, the man who is absent, who doesn't react to every little emotional shift, is rare. This absence creates an emotional void that's impossible to ignore. And in that void, she starts to see you in a different light. She realizes that you are not like the other men who are forever trying to fix things, forever trying to keep her happy. You, the modern Stoic, have learned that the greatest gift you can give is your absence, not as punishment, but as a lesson. This is a powerful shift. It's not about manipulation, it's about self-respect. It's about embodying the blessing of Stoicism and standing firm in your own value. Don't beg, don't chase. Let her feel the weight of her own choices. And when she comes back, and she will, you will be in a position of power, not because you've done anything extraordinary, but because you've done nothing at all. This is the power of the modern Stoic silence, absence, and emotional elevation. That is the key to reclaiming control in any relationship. If you found this valuable, like, comment below, and share it with someone who could benefit. Don't forget to subscribe for more wisdom. Comment to remember I control my own energy and let her feel the consequences. 5. Stop over-explain yourself. One of the greatest mistakes a man can make when a woman starts to distance herself is to over-explain himself. It's a trap that's all too easy to fall into, but it undermines your strength and takes away from your true masculine energy. You see it happening often. She starts texting less, ignoring your calls, or simply seems distant. And what's your first instinct? You immediately start asking yourself questions like, did I do something wrong? Are you mad at me or worse? Why are you acting like this? Now I get it. It's tough when someone you care about pulls away. But here's the hard truth. Over-explaining yourself is never the answer. Let's get a few things clear. Using the wisdom of the old Stoic philosophers who knew that emotional control is paramount. When you feel that need to justify or defend yourself, stop. You don't need to explain, apologize, or beg for attention. This is not the way of the Stoic man. The Stoic life teaches us not to chase or seek validation. Instead, it teaches us how to maintain calm and composure, no matter the external circumstances. You might feel tempted to pour out your emotions, thinking that if you explain your feelings or convince her how much you care, things will magically return to normal. But that's a mistake. All you're doing is displaying insecurity, anxiety, and neediness. A woman can smell neediness from miles away, and it will only push her further away. So, stop. Don't do it. When you over-explain, you're essentially handing over your power. Think of it like giving her the keys to your emotional state, letting her dictate how you feel and react. That's not the way the old Stoic masters approached life. Instead of being swayed by external forces, they focused on their own internal strength. When a woman distances herself, it's not your job to chase her down, groveling for explanations or approval. That's not masculine energy. That's a lack of self-assurance. In the realm of relationships, the most attractive thing a man can do is hold his ground with emotional composure. When faced with distance, a Stoic man doesn't crumble or rush to explain his feelings. He stays steady. The more you talk, justify, or over-communicate, the more power you lose. Think about it. What is more attractive? Someone who can hold their composure under pressure, or someone who falls apart the moment things feel uncertain? Women don't respond to words alone. They respond to strength. Strength that comes from knowing who you are, knowing your value, and not needing to explain it to anyone. This is where Stoicism comes in. By embodying Stoic lessons, you develop a sense of calm and inner peace that doesn't fluctuate based on the actions of others. You know that your worth is inherent. It doesn't require validation. And that self-sufficiency is what makes you magnetic. Emotional composure is the secret weapon of any modern Stoic. When you master this, you become immune to the games and emotional roller coasters of life. A Stoic doesn't panic when faced with a challenge. He doesn't beg for someone's affection, nor does he overanalyze every move the other person makes. Instead, he stays grounded. This is the epitome of masculine strength. The more you remain calm and composed, the more control you keep. The truth is, when you stop over-explaining, you demonstrate emotional maturity. You show that you're not controlled by external circumstances. You're a man who knows how to handle challenges with grace and wisdom. This kind of strength is exactly what attracts respect and admiration, especially from a woman who may be testing your emotional stability. This is a critical lesson. When a woman creates space, It's important to recognize that it's not your job to chase her down. Don't fall into the trap of trying to fix things by explaining yourself over and over. Instead, use the space to reflect on your own journey. This is where Stoicism can truly transform you. By applying Stoic principles, you learn to live in the present moment, unaffected by external chaos. You become someone who isn't easily shaken by the unpredictable nature of relationships. Instead of focusing on what's wrong with the situation, focus on what you can control. And that is yourself. You are the one who defines your value. So stop looking for constant reassurance. You must be so sure of your own worth that no one's confusion or emotional distance will ever make you question who you are. The Stoic life demands that you be your own source of strength and validation. So, the next time a woman pulls away, don't beg for her attention, don't explain yourself. Don't search for the perfect words to make her feel the way you want her to. Stand firm. Let her come to you. Remember, you are the man who doesn't need validation from anyone. This is the wisdom that the old Stoics embraced. True power lies in self-reliance, emotional mastery, and a steady heart in the face of uncertainty. So let her distance herself if she must. You'll be fine, because you are calm in the storm. You are a Stoic man, and you don't need to explain that to anyone. 6. Detach from the outcome. In the world of modern dating, there's a truth every man must accept if he wants to master his emotions and relationships. You must detach from the outcome. This is a lesson rooted deeply in the Stoic principles, particularly those of Marcus Aurelius, who taught that the only control you truly have is over your own actions and reactions. If you're sitting around obsessing over whether she will come back or if she'll ever text you again, understand this. You're already losing. You're giving away your power, your peace, and your self-respect. When a woman pulls away, the first thing that gets tested isn't your love or how much you care about her. It's your ability to let go. You must break free from the chains of expectation. Too many men make the mistake of believing that by following the right steps, giving space, not chasing, focusing on themselves, they'll win her back. But this mindset still comes from attachment, and attachment is the root of all disappointment. Think about it. If you're fixated on the idea of her returning, you're no different than a man who clings desperately to fleeting moments. Stoicism teaches us that attachment leads to suffering, and attachment to any outcome leads to frustration. Instead, focus on what you can control: your own actions, your own emotional state, and your own growth. The more you chase the outcome, the more you push her further away. The power lies in embracing the uncertainty, in finding strength within yourself, and understanding that her actions or decisions do not define your worth or your happiness. When you let go of the attachment to an outcome, you free yourself from the prison of expectation and the stress of trying to control someone else's behavior. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." So if you're caught up in worrying about what she's doing, you are living in a cycle of negativity that will only weaken your mind. Instead, channel your energy into becoming the best version of yourself. Focus on your passions, your purpose, your personal growth. That's how you master your own life. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop relying on her for validation, for happiness, or for any sense of purpose. By letting go of this attachment, you actually put yourself in a position of strength. You are now free to move forward, to become more resilient, and to take control of your destiny. Do not let the fear of rejection or the uncertainty of the future rule your emotions. Do not spoil what you have by desiring what you have not, said Epictetus, another great Stoic. You must stand firm in your own values. The truth is, when you live by Stoic principles, you are already on the path to mastery. You've taken back control of your emotional life, and you no longer need to depend on external validation. In the end, detaching from the outcome isn't about giving up, it's about winning. It's about gaining emotional freedom and creating the kind of life where you are not defined by anyone else's actions, only by your own. Stop seeking validation from her. Stop chasing. Instead, focus on becoming the man who is so complete, so powerful, that you attract what you deserve. Victory lies not in the outcome, but in how you carry yourself, how you manage your emotions, and how you stand tall no matter what comes your way. The Stoics knew this well. You must remain steady in your purpose, and you must be at peace with yourself. When you do that, you are unstoppable. If you find today's content useful to you, don't forget to share your feelings and lessons with us. Or simply comment, "Very cool." It's a great encouragement for our channel makers. Thank you very much. 7. Move on like she doesn't exist. When a woman distances herself and starts ignoring you, many men fall into the trap of chasing after her, seeking explanations, or trying to figure out where they went wrong. But that's the wrong approach. Don't waste a second trying to make sense of her behavior or begging for her attention. The most powerful move you can make is to move on as if she doesn't exist. And I'm not talking about this in some petty, childish way. It's not about playing games, stirring up jealousy, or making her feel regretful. This move is all about reclaiming your life, your energy, and your peace of mind. The moment she pulls away, you pull away further, not in a way that's meant to hurt her, but in a way that's meant to protect your own strength and resolve. You must become a modern Stoic in the face of emotional distance, embodying the calm and strength that comes from understanding you cannot control others, only yourself. You see, the blessing of Stoicism is the realization that you don't need anyone's validation to feel worthy. You don't need closure from her to find peace. In fact, the best thing you can do is to stop looking for it from her at all. Instead of obsessing over the unanswered texts or wondering why she's withdrawn, you focus on one thing: your purpose. Shift all of your attention away from her and channel it into yourself, into becoming the best version of who you are. You become louder in your purpose, louder in your grind, and louder in your focus. This is where your energy should go, not into pining for someone who has already decided to distance themselves from you. When you commit to moving on like she doesn't exist, it isn't about shutting down emotionally or pretending you don't care. It's about understanding that your life doesn't revolve around someone who isn't invested in it. Don't ever beg for attention, love, or closure. You are a man of value, and you must believe that. The blessing of Stoicism lies in accepting what you cannot change and taking control of what you can. You can control your actions, your mindset, and your growth. So, take control of those things and move forward. When you detach from the need for closure, you set yourself free. You are no longer waiting around for someone who isn't offering you what you deserve. But here's the beautiful part: as you do this, as you start living for yourself and letting her fade into the background of your life, you will inevitably start to see results. She may never admit it, but she will notice. She will hear about your success, your growth, your transformation into a man of strength, and she will start to miss you. Not in the desperate, longing way that you might miss her, but in the way that recognizes what she lost. As you move forward, building your life, you'll become the man that she wishes she had never let go of. But that's not your concern anymore. You're no longer seeking validation from her or anyone else. The true power lies in the silence of your absence. You don't need to make a dramatic exit or burn bridges. Just pull back and focus on what you can control. Let your actions speak louder than any words you could say. Let your growth and success be the things that define you, not her approval. You'll begin to realize that when you move on, it's not about her at all. It's about becoming the man you were meant to be. The Stoic approach to life teaches you to remain calm and centered, no matter the chaos around you. When she distanced herself, it wasn't a reflection of your worth. It was simply her choice. And you, as a modern Stoic, choose to move forward, to focus on yourself and to keep your peace. As you grow louder in your focus, your purpose, and your grind, she may start to hear about you and wonder what happened. But by then, it won't matter. You won't be sitting around wondering about her, waiting for some form of acknowledgement. You'll be too busy living your best life. That is the blessing of Stoicism, to find your strength and resolve not by what others do or don't do, but by how you choose to respond to life. So, don't beg, don't chase, don't second-guess yourself. Be the man who, even in silence, becomes impossible to ignore. Hey, thanks for watching and making it to the end. Here's something important to remember when a woman distances herself from you and starts ignoring you. How you respond will define your entire reality. You see, this is a test of your self-respect, self-control, and emotional maturity. Don't chase after her. Don't beg for her attention. That behavior never leads to anything good and only shows weakness. Instead, you need to stay grounded. Protect your peace. The moment you lose your frame, you've already lost. What high-value men do in these situations is rise above the drama. They focus on themselves, on their goals, on their growth. If her energy isn't matching yours, then you simply detach from the situation. Don't make her absence feel like an emergency. You understand that your worth isn't tied to her or anyone else's approval. When you start living this way, you become a man who is unwavering in his confidence and his sense of self. You're no longer chasing people or outcomes. You're too focused on your mission and your peace of mind. So, my advice, don't let anyone's distance make you lose your cool. Stay calm, stay centered, and keep moving forward like she never mattered more than your inner peace. Because, in the end, that's how a high-value man operates. Strong, calm, and always moving forward. Stay focused, stay confident, and keep leveling up. I appreciate you for tuning in today, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourself.
Why women get addicted to men who act like they're nothing. Psychology tips. In love, the pursuit is as important as the possession. Anonymous. Imagine this. You're with a stunning woman. She's not just beautiful, but witty, intelligent, and the kind of person who turns heads wherever she goes. You're doing everything you think you should, treating her like royalty, bringing flowers, planning lavish dates, and sending her thoughtful good morning texts every day. You're the gentleman your mother would be proud of. But here's the catch. She's gradually becoming less interested, and you're left wondering why. What I'm about to tell you might challenge everything you think you know about attraction and relationships. The truth that most men refuse to face is this. To truly capture a woman's heart, her love and loyalty must be built on a foundation where she feels she's constantly striving to earn your affection, not taking it for granted. A woman thrives on the feeling that she has to reach for something that feels just out of reach. If she feels too secure, too comfortable, the excitement fades. 1. Women are attracted to men with higher survival value. When it comes to attraction, women are deeply wired by biology to seek out men with higher survival value. This isn't just about physical traits or the size of one's bank account. Women are instinctively drawn to men who have the ability to protect and provide, traits that are deeply embedded in their subconscious from millions of years of evolutionary history. You see, this attraction isn't random, it's biologically programmed. Historically, women were forced to choose partners who could guarantee safety, resources, and protection. They needed men who could fend off predators, protect their families, and provide stability in times of danger. The subconscious programming that triggers attraction to such traits still exists today, even in modern society where physical danger is not as prevalent, but where emotional stability, leadership, and confidence remain just as essential. The reality is that women often feel a deep attraction to men who radiate a sense of strength, not just physical, but emotional. It's not necessarily about having the best financial assets or the most impressive muscles. It's about showing up with confidence, emotional resilience, and leadership qualities. This isn't about material wealth. It's about demonstrating an ability to navigate the ups and downs of life with strength and clarity. Women, whether they know it or not, are hardwired to connect with men who provide a sense of security, not just in terms of finances, but also in emotional and psychological support. These qualities signal that the man will not only survive through adversity, but thrive, which is crucial when it comes to long term relationships and raising a family. Confidence plays a key role in this. A man who believes in himself, who has a solid sense of purpose, and who exudes leadership potential is inherently attractive. Women are drawn to men who show they can handle life's challenges with grace and poise. It's not about being perfect, it's about showing up as someone capable of facing adversity, someone who brings calm and strength into any situation. This is the essence of high survival value, the ability to stay grounded, think strategically, and remain stable in times of uncertainty. Women are not consciously evaluating your material wealth, they are measuring your ability to endure and offer protection, both physically and emotionally. You must be someone they can rely on, someone who will lead when needed, and someone who will protect them when the world gets tough. Moreover, while evolutionary instincts drive much of the attraction, modern women are often subconsciously searching for men who embody these ancient traits: leadership, confidence, emotional steadiness, and the ability to remain strong in challenging times. You might not realize it, but your ability to take control of situations, your emotional maturity, and your confidence all contribute to this attraction. When you know how to stand firm in the face of adversity, how to remain composed in stress, and how to provide support when it's needed most, you're signaling your higher survival value. These are the qualities that keep women captivated and drawn to you even when they may not be consciously aware of why they feel this pull. It's deeper than material wealth or external features. It's about how well you can weather the storms of life. The bottom line is this: if you want to increase your appeal and truly understand what women are drawn to, focus on building your internal strength. Women crave men who can face life's difficulties without falling apart, men who can provide emotional stability and a sense of security. This is what gives you a higher survival value in their eyes. You must understand that it's not about being a perfect man, it's about being a man who knows how to handle challenges, support those he loves, and create a safe and stable environment. Remember this psychology tip. Women are attracted to men who are able to lead with confidence, remain calm in adversity, and emotionally support their families. It's not about having wealth or status, it's about being able to provide the one thing that matters most: security, in every sense of the word. So take note of your leadership qualities, sharpen your emotional resilience, and recognize your value, not just in what you have, but in what you can provide on a deeper, more instinctive level. 2. Women's biological attraction and the role of selection in evolution. The first layer of this puzzle lies in the biological attraction that women have toward certain traits in men. Historically, women were faced with the critical challenge of selecting a mate whose qualities could ensure the survival of themselves and their offspring. This decision was nothing short of a matter of life and death. Think about it. Pregnancy and child rearing are physically demanding and require resources. During prehistoric times, when survival was far from guaranteed, a woman's selection of a partner was deeply connected to the likelihood of her own survival and the safety of her children. In essence, the stakes were high. Women had to carefully choose men who could provide protection and offer the resources necessary to help raise their children. Men who lacked the ability to safeguard their families or provide for them were often left behind. This naturally created a deep-seated preference for strong, capable men who could provide both physical and material security. Fast forward to the modern era, and the challenges of survival are no longer the same. We no longer live in a world where physical strength or the ability to hunt and gather resources is paramount. Yet, the wiring in a woman's brain that seeks security remains unchanged. Although today's selection criteria might not center around physical prowess or wealth, the underlying need for emotional security, leadership, and stability is just as crucial. Women, consciously or unconsciously, seek men who can offer these qualities. They are drawn to men who exude emotional stability, those who can provide a sense of leadership and create a secure environment. This is where the appeal of men who act aloof, indifferent, or even emotionally unavailable comes into play. The thrill of the challenge. Why does the bad boy appeal to women? It's not about the act itself, but rather the underlying signals that come with it. When a man appears unattainable or emotionally distant, he triggers a sense of challenge. This challenge taps into a woman's biological wiring for selection. Attracting women is no longer about being overly available, constantly showering them with affection, or seeking their approval. In fact, when a man is somewhat emotionally distant or nonchalant, it activates a woman's instincts to prove herself. It's the thrill of the chase that makes him so irresistible. This emotional challenge creates a magnetic pull, not because of his indifference, but because she perceives him as a prize to be won. Subconsciously, she is driven by the desire to unlock his emotional world and prove her worth as a mate. The paradox of stability and desire. Here lies the paradox that many men fail to understand. Women crave security, yet they also crave excitement. When a man acts like he's nothing or is hard to get, he creates that excitement. But it must be balanced with the qualities that provide stability. Women want to feel safe, but they also want to feel desired. This means they are not looking for a man who is completely cold or emotionally unavailable. Instead, they are looking for the right balance between stability and excitement. The key to this dynamic is understanding that attracting women doesn't mean being emotionally absent, but it does involve being selective with your time, attention, and affection. Women are instinctively attracted to men who are confident in their own emotional space, who offer stability but also keep a sense of mystery and independence. The power of emotional security and leadership. Leadership is another critical aspect that plays into this equation. Women are biologically wired to seek out men who demonstrate leadership qualities. However, this leadership is not just about taking charge in the traditional sense, it's about providing emotional security. Men who can make decisions with confidence, who show resilience in tough situations, and who are emotionally available when needed but not overly clingy, tend to be more attractive. These men provide stability without being overly accessible. This balance is what keeps the attraction alive. It's not about playing games or being emotionally distant for the sake of it. It's about mastering the art of emotional security while maintaining an aura of intrigue. Conclusion: the balance between challenge and security. In the world of relationship goals, understanding the psychology behind women's attraction to men who seem emotionally distant or aloof is about balance. Women are drawn to men who are not just emotionally secure and capable of providing a stable environment, but also those who can spark excitement and challenge their emotional boundaries. To attract women, the message is clear. Don't be overly available, but also don't be emotionally distant. Be the type of man who offers emotional stability, leadership, and security, but also maintains a sense of mystery. The key is to balance the challenge with the comfort that women crave. In the end, this combination creates the perfect mix of desire and stability that leads to a deeper connection and a lasting relationship. In love psychology, this balance is often the hardest to master, but once you do, Your ability to build meaningful and successful relationships will reach new heights. Be the man who offers both stability and excitement. If you find this valuable, comment below and share it with someone who could benefit. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights. Comment to remember, I attract stability, strength, and emotional security into my life. 3. SMV, sexual market value, and attraction. One powerful psychological principle that governs attraction is sexual market value, SMV. This term, often misunderstood, refers not just to external factors such as wealth, appearance, or status. It is a measure of how a man presents himself, his behavior, his confidence, and his emotional self-sufficiency. Women aren't just looking for a man with the right clothes or a hefty bank account. What truly draws them is a man's inner game, how he carries himself, his self-assuredness, and his emotional resilience. A man who projects strength, independence, and inner value becomes more attractive, and it has nothing to do with external validation. As the modern Stoic would say, a man who seeks validation from others is a man who has not yet learned to validate himself. Women can sense a man's neediness a mile away. When a man is constantly looking for reassurance or approval, especially from a woman, his value in her eyes diminishes. He becomes predictable, clingy, and weak in his pursuit of external validation. Women are wired to be attracted to strength, mystery, and a challenge. When a man is confident in himself, when he is not desperate for affirmation, this creates intrigue. His independence is what makes him stand out. Think of it this way. The true measure of a man's value isn't in what he possesses, but in his self-possession. A man who understands the depth of his own worth and doesn't need to constantly show it off or seek confirmation naturally draws others to him. Women appreciate men who don't play all their cards at once, who don't fall all over themselves to impress. Instead, a valuable man makes a woman feel as though she must earn his attention and affection. This creates real attraction. As the old Stoic principle states, the greatest wealth is to live content with little. The modern Stoic would add, and the greatest power is to be content with yourself. When a man is emotionally self-sufficient, he becomes the master of his own emotions and his own life. This makes him irresistible. A woman may be initially attracted to a man's status or wealth, but what makes her stay is his ability to maintain his own sense of purpose and emotional independence. She is drawn to him because he doesn't need her to feel validated or fulfilled. This principle has been recognized for centuries. Ancient philosophers like Epictetus emphasized the importance of mastering one's emotions and desires, and that same wisdom applies today. When you, as a man, understand your own worth and refuse to beg for attention or approval, your attraction value skyrockets. You become someone who doesn't chase after what others have, but rather commands respect by living authentically and without dependence on external factors. A man who exudes confidence, without arrogance, becomes a rare find. He doesn't cater to every woman who shows interest. Instead, he makes sure that his time and attention are earned, not given freely. Women see this, and they want to earn that attention. It's the thrill of the chase, the challenge of knowing that he's not easily swayed by flattery or attempts to win him over. Don't be the man who is always seeking approval. You must be the man who knows his worth, who values himself and his time. Women will respect and, most importantly, desire that. When you lead with independence, when you show that you are self-sufficient emotionally and not at the mercy of others' opinions, you become magnetic. So remember, the more you work on building your self-worth and emotional resilience, the more you create genuine, lasting attraction. Don't chase. Don't seek. Let your presence speak for itself. Let your actions, your strength, and your emotional control do the talking. This is how men become truly irresistible. This is the essence of modern Stoicism in attraction. Be a man who is secure in himself and watch as women gravitate toward you. In the words of the great Stoic Marcus Aurelius, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. That is the key. Show up as a man who doesn't need to seek validation, and you'll become the man women can't resist. 4. How a man's behavior affects a woman's attraction. When it comes to attraction, women don't just assess men based on looks or financial status alone. Psychology tips reveal that a major part of attraction stems from a man's behavior and how he treats a woman. Physical attraction and wealth are certainly factors, but they aren't the deal breakers. What matters most is a man's self assurance and how he carries himself. If he lacks confidence or is overly accommodating, he might struggle to retain a woman's interest. Even if he's rich and attractive, his lack of assertiveness could drive her away. Women are wired to be drawn to men who can assert their value without flaunting it in an exaggerated way. This is where the real psychology of attraction kicks in. Men who display self respect, maintain their independence, and refrain from offering constant validation become far more appealing. Women find it attractive when a man knows his worth and isn't afraid to show it. If a man has the confidence to make decisions and stick by them, his presence becomes magnetic. This confidence is crucial for a deeper connection because it allows women to sense strength, leadership, and emotional stability. Dating tips suggest that a man's behavior toward a woman also plays a huge role in keeping the attraction alive. Women find themselves losing interest when a man is always available, eager to please, and without boundaries. This behavior can come off as weak or desperate, and the excitement that initially attracted her can quickly fade. Women crave challenge in relationships because it fuels the sense of mystery and keeps them emotionally invested. They don't want to feel like they have a man who is at their beck and call, waiting to satisfy every whim. A relationship that feels too easy, too predictable, doesn't hold their attention for long. A man who holds his ground, refuses to be swayed by every request, and remains emotionally independent is not just attractive, but compelling. He creates a sense of tension and anticipation that women find exciting. He is not afraid to walk away from situations that don't serve him, and this is a behavior that women subconsciously crave. Confidence, in this sense, is not about arrogance, but about being comfortable with one's own value and maintaining a healthy distance when necessary. In relationships, it's often the man who knows how to balance warmth with space who will keep a woman captivated. Women aren't attracted to men who are always at their disposal. They are drawn to men who have their own life, their own interests, and their own boundaries. This is why creating subtle challenges, establishing a life outside of the relationship, and maintaining a bit of mystery can enhance a man's allure. So, if you want to truly keep a woman interested, remember this: be confident, decisive, and avoid the trap of being overly eager to please. Don't give her everything she wants at the drop of a hat, and don't lose your sense of self in the relationship. Instead, make her work a little bit for your attention, and she'll be much more invested in keeping you. Keep these psychology tips in mind, and you'll find yourself mastering the art of attraction. If you find this valuable, like, comment below, and share it with someone who could benefit. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights. Comment to remember: confidence and self-respect are the keys to attracting lasting attraction. 5. The uncertainty of interest creates attraction. Attraction thrives on mystery. One of the most powerful elements of attraction is the uncertainty of interest. When a man is overly eager to show how much he likes a woman and is always available, something crucial is lost: the challenge. Women are naturally drawn to situations where there's an element of unpredictability, and when everything is handed to them too easily, interest fades. The key to winning her heart isn't in constant pursuit, but in creating a sense of uncertainty about your level of interest. Don't make yourself too available. When a man is always there, always eager, always trying to please, it's easy for a woman to take him for granted. There's no mystery, no excitement. In fact, she may begin to lose respect, and the attraction she once felt begins to slip away. Women aren't looking for men who are always at their beck and call. They want someone who can keep them guessing, someone who isn't always easy to read. Be unpredictable, but not indifferent. The trick isn't to be cold, distant, or disinterested. Instead, it's about creating a balance. You don't have to play games, but you must leave some room for uncertainty. A man who keeps his feelings slightly veiled, just enough to make a woman wonder, will spark her curiosity. This emotional pull is what makes her want to invest more, pursue you more, and seek out that connection. This emotional dance keeps her engaged and craving more. That's where the magic happens. The woman will feel as if she has to work for your attention. And that challenge, that emotional investment, builds a stronger bond. When she has to put in effort, when she's unsure about where she stands, her interest deepens. That feeling of earning your affection is incredibly powerful and creates an emotional bond that can't be easily shaken. Women love feeling like they've earned something valuable, and your attention becomes just that, something precious she has to work for. You must maintain emotional distance, just enough to build desire. Too much interest from you too soon leads to complacency, while too little leads to disconnection. It's a fine line to walk, but once you find that balance, your connection will become stronger. The key is to keep her emotionally invested in the process of winning your attention. You must keep her on her toes, make her feel that there's more to discover, and in the process, she'll become deeply intrigued and drawn to you. In the world of love psychology, this balance of uncertainty is one of the most important relationship goals a man can master. The mystery and emotional tension you create by being selectively available, unpredictable, and emotionally engaging is what makes a woman feel deeply attracted to you. This attraction doesn't fade because it's rooted in real emotional investment, not just superficial gestures. The reality is simple. Attract women by making them feel that they have to work for your affection, that they must put in effort to truly connect with you. Don't be overly eager, but don't be cold either. Find that sweet spot where the uncertainty of your interest keeps her emotionally invested and always seeking more. That's the real secret to attraction. 6. Creating desire by making attention rare. One of the most effective psychological tactics in maintaining a woman's interest is creating desire through scarcity of attention. When a man is always available, constantly showering her with attention, the relationship quickly becomes mundane and predictable. Women crave novelty and excitement. They're drawn to mystery and the unknown, not to something they can have at any moment. That's why, when a man makes his attention rare, he becomes more desirable. Think about it. Scarcity makes things more valuable. If you're always there, always responding immediately to every text, every request, you'll lose your edge. The novelty wears off. But when your attention isn't given freely, it becomes something she needs to earn. You've created a challenge, something worth pursuing. Let's be clear. This isn't about being emotionally distant or playing games. It's about being strategic with your presence. A man who masters the art of intermittent attention is never seen as desperate. Instead, he cultivates an air of mystery, intrigue, and worth. He makes himself valuable by not being always available. So, stop responding to every text right away. Don't always drop what you're doing to fulfill her every request. This isn't about being cold or indifferent. It's about building a dynamic where your attention is something she has to work for. Remember, the human brain is wired to crave what it can't always have. When a woman knows she has to work a little harder to get your time and attention, she will start to value those moments more. She will invest emotionally, making the connection more meaningful. This is where Stoic philosophy can guide you. As a modern Stoic, you understand the power of patience and restraint. You don't react impulsively. You control your own actions, which makes others take notice. It's not about withholding love or affection. It's about understanding that true attraction thrives when there's a sense of mystery, not predictability. Take a page from the old Stoics. They knew that life's greatest rewards often come through discipline and delayed gratification. When you're not constantly seeking approval or validation, you create a stronger, more stable foundation for your relationships. Being able to control your reactions and maintain composure in all situations will only increase your value in her eyes. You must learn the art of purposeful distance. Make her earn your attention, and in doing so, you'll deepen her emotional investment in the relationship. This isn't manipulation, this is strategic living. You're not playing games, you're simply aligning your actions with the reality of human psychology. When you stop being so available, stop answering every text immediately, you become a man she values and respects more. Relationships, after all, are not about constant proximity, but about creating a dynamic that feels balanced and intriguing. So don't give in to the temptation of constant attention. Let your presence be something she has to work to experience. Let her crave it. That's when attraction thrives, and when your relationship grows into something deeper and more meaningful. If you're ready to transform your relationships and step into your power, this is the moment. Most men never learn the importance of scarcity, but you're already ahead. Don't fall into the trap of predictability. Take charge and create the desire you deserve. Comment below. I know the power of rare attention and I'm ready to embrace it. 7. Women. Test men to assess their level of interest. Women test men as a natural way to gauge their level of interest and commitment. It's not about manipulation, it's an instinctive behavior. When a woman seems distant, compares you to other men, or sets up challenges to test your reaction, it's her way of assessing your genuine investment in the relationship. It's not personal, it's her nature. Women want to feel wanted, but they also need to feel like the man they're with is not overly eager to please or constantly in need of reassurance. When a woman tests a man, she's looking for certainty. She wants to know if you are truly committed or just playing a part. If you crumble under the pressure, if you start acting anxious or desperate, it tells her you're insecure and need constant validation. She'll see that as a weakness. But if you stand firm, remain calm, and refuse to be shaken by these tests, you show your strength and confidence. You show that you're not dependent on her approval to define your worth. This calmness in the face of her challenges is precisely what will keep her interested. Understanding this dynamic is crucial, as it speaks to a deeper psychological need women have in relationships. They don't want everything handed to them. They want to feel that they're working towards something meaningful. The more a man can hold his ground, remain composed, and stay true to his own value without falling into desperation, the more he becomes someone who commands respect and attraction. As psychology tips for dating go, remember that women crave security, but not in the way most men think. It's not about making things too easy. The challenge, the unpredictability, the tests, they keep the relationship dynamic alive. If you pass those tests with self-assurance and consistency, you'll maintain her interest. This is love advice that goes against the grain of typical nice guy behavior. A woman wants a partner who can weather the storm, remain calm under pressure, and prove through actions, not just words, that he's worthy of her time and affection. So be the man who keeps his cool. Don't fall into the trap of thinking you need to constantly prove yourself. It's about showing her that you value yourself first. When you stop seeking validation and act from a place of strength, she'll naturally be drawn to you. It's not about being aloof or distant. It's about being self-assured, confident, and emotionally stable. These are the qualities that not only attract women, but also make them stay. If you want to truly master the art of attraction, the key is understanding this psychological dynamic and using it to your advantage. Don't rush to please. Be the man who stands strong in the face of uncertainty. Women test men to assess their value, and by keeping your composure, you'll pass with flying colors. The right woman will recognize your strength and commitment, and that's what keeps her hooked. 8. The power of unpredictability and attraction. Men, listen closely. One of the biggest secrets to attracting women is mastering the art of unpredictability. It may sound simple, but the reality is that women are drawn to men who are not easily figured out. When a man becomes predictable, his actions and responses easily anticipated, something crucial fades away. Attraction begins to dwindle. A woman finds herself less excited, less intrigued, and less invested. It's not because she doesn't care, it's because the thrill of the chase is lost. Don't mistake unpredictability for chaos. Don't confuse it with erratic behavior or inconsistency. Unpredictability isn't about being a roller coaster of emotional highs and lows. Rather, it's about maintaining an element of surprise. It's about being a man who keeps things interesting without making her feel like she's walking on eggshells. A man who doesn't follow the usual, expected script is the kind of man who keeps her on her toes, emotionally engaged and deeply intrigued. That is the core of attraction. You must create a sense of mystery. Don't make everything easy to figure out. Let her wonder about you. Keep her guessing. Whether it's the way you show affection, how you surprise her, or even how you engage in deep conversation, maintain an element of unpredictability. This isn't manipulation. This is natural attraction psychology at work. Why does this work? Love psychology tells us that women are wired to seek out emotional engagement. If a man behaves predictably, the emotional engagement starts to weaken. But if he introduces a touch of mystery, whether it's through his words, actions, or plans, he keeps her invested. The unpredictability forces her to think, to wonder, to invest emotionally in learning more about him. And that emotional investment deepens her attraction. But here's the catch: be careful. Too much unpredictability can backfire. You must avoid erratic behavior. Being unpredictable doesn't mean playing mind games or acting hot and cold. It's about keeping the relationship dynamic and captivating by occasionally deviating from the norm. Don't always be the man she expects. Surprise her with thoughtfulness, with spontaneous plans, or with a deep, unexpected conversation. This kind of unpredictability creates excitement and maintains emotional tension, both of which are critical for long-term attraction. Attracting women isn't about being a mystery all the time, but about knowing when to reveal a little, when to hold back, and when to create moments of surprise. You don't need to be a magician, just someone who knows how to maintain a balance between predictability and excitement. A man who consistently keeps a woman emotionally engaged without overwhelming her will win her heart. That is what makes a relationship successful, keeping the attraction alive through constant intrigue. A man who has mastered this balance keeps a woman interested not just in the short term, but in the long run. So, the next time you think about how to keep a woman's attention, remember this: be unpredictable, but be consistent in your emotional stability. In the long term, mastering this element of unpredictability will help you reach your relationship goals. You'll become the man who she can't wait to spend more time with, the one she can't stop thinking about. When you master this art, you'll notice how her interest grows deeper, how her connection with you strengthens. Keep her intrigued, keep her emotionally invested, and watch your relationship thrive. That is the power of unpredictability. Hey there, thanks for watching. If you've stuck with me till the end, I hope these insights have helped you understand the psychology of female attraction just a little bit better. Here's the deal: the difference I've shared today will transform not only your dating life, but your entire relationship with women. It's about understanding what truly captivates them and how you can show up as your best self. So take this advice to heart. You can keep playing the nice guy game and wonder why women lose interest, or you can embrace these truths, even though they might be uncomfortable, and start building the passionate, devoted relationships you deserve. Stop trying to win her over. Instead, become the kind of man she feels lucky to have won over. Remember, your value doesn't come from constantly seeking validation. It comes from being the man who commands respect, admiration, and true affection. Keep growing, keep improving, and most importantly, be the man who knows exactly what he brings to the table. I'll catch you in the next video. How marriage exploits men. The hidden truth, psychology tips. The price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it. Henry David Thoreau. What if everything you were told about marriage was never the truth, but a carefully crafted story designed to keep you in line? Think about it. Loyalty, sacrifice, responsibility, these are the very traits that make you a good man. Yet in marriage, they become the chains that quietly strip away your freedom. Look at the men around you. How many still walk with purpose, fire in their eyes, and sovereignty in their lives? Most don't. Because modern marriage is no longer a partnership, it's a system, an ancient machine disguised as love, created to drain a man's independence, his identity, and eventually his will to fight back. And the worst part? It happens so slowly, so subtly, that most men never even realize they've been trapped. 1. After marriage, the transformation of a man. After marriage, the transformation of a man is often subtle at first, but soon becomes undeniable. And if you look closely, you'll see the pattern repeated in countless lives. Don't ignore it. Don't sugarcoat it. Be honest with yourself. What really happens to most men once they step into marriage? Their closest friends, the ones who once brought laughter and brotherhood, slowly vanish. Not because of natural distance, but because the new structure of married life leaves no room for them. The hobbies, passions, and small escapes that once gave a man identity and vitality get labeled as selfish indulgences, unless they directly serve the family unit. And in time, many men stop even fighting for them. That is the quiet erosion of self. His free time, once his own, to use for growth or relaxation, is now consumed by a never ending list of household duties, child rearing responsibilities, and management of the family's daily chaos. And the most critical shift, money. A man's paycheck, earned through sweat and late nights, instantly morphs into our money. Yet in practice, it is often his wife who dictates how it will be spent. Don't think this is coincidence. Don't be fooled into believing it's simply the natural byproduct of love. It is a deliberately designed system, social, cultural, and even legal, that strips men of their options and locks them into dedicating every ounce of energy and every dollar earned to maintaining the family structure, often at the cost of their own sovereignty. You must see that this isn't random chance. Marriage, as it functions today, exploits the very values that define a good man: loyalty, sacrifice, responsibility, and turns them into chains. It rebrands his duty as obligation, his generosity as expectation, and his financial success as a communal resource he no longer fully controls. This is where psychology tips, love advice, and dating tips become critical for men to understand, because knowledge of human behavior is the only shield against manipulation. Don't just drift into the system blindly. Be the man who observes with clarity, who asks hard questions. Is this structure serving me, or am I merely serving it? The truth is simple but profound. Marriage, in its modern form, too often becomes a machine designed not to empower men but to drain them. Don't let your fire die quietly. Don't let your freedom shrink into the background. Be the man who learns, who applies psychology tips, who seeks love advice not to be used, but to remain strong and aware in every relationship. That is your defense. That is your responsibility. Because the transformation of a man after marriage does not have to mean surrender. It can mean awareness, mastery, and the courage to set terms on how you give your time, your love, and your wealth. And you must never forget, a system only exploits you if you walk into it blind. Be awake. Be sharp. Be unafraid to protect your sovereignty. 2. The genius of the system. The true brilliance and the quiet tragedy of this system is that it turns a man's best values into the very tools that hold him captive. Think about it. The drive to be a good husband, the desire to be a reliable father, the instinct to be a steadfast provider, virtues praised by society, become the very chains that keep him locked in place. It's a cruel magic trick. His loyalty, his sense of duty, his sacrifice, all the things that should make him noble, are twisted into instruments of control. And the genius is this: he cooperates in his own imprisonment. He tells himself that resistance would be selfish, that wanting freedom makes him irresponsible, that refusing the weight makes him less of a man. He builds the bars and then thanks society for handing him the hammer. Carl Jung once said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." But for the married man, the deeper terror is staring into the mirror and realizing how fully he has been domesticated. His wildness, his fire, his sense of adventure gradually tamed, fenced, and trimmed until he forgets he ever had them. Even our language gives away the truth. We don't say celebrating freedom. We say the ball and chain. We don't say starting a journey. We say getting hitched. We don't say building a kingdom. We say taking the plunge. Words carry the weight of centuries, and they whisper what men don't want to admit: that marriage in its current form doesn't represent partnership, it represents surrender. And yet most men don't see it coming, because love psychology plays tricks on the mind. A man convinced he is fulfilling his highest calling, protecting, providing, sacrificing, cannot see the walls closing in around him. He believes his relationship goals are noble, that by giving everything he will gain everything. But slowly, silently, he loses the most precious resource of all: his freedom to choose who he becomes. That is the genius of the system. Don't underestimate it. Don't pretend it isn't there. Be wise enough to question it. You must see the hidden architecture before it traps you. The tragedy is that the very qualities that once helped men conquer empires are the same ones used to make them tame within their own homes. The man who wanted to attract women with strength and confidence ends up weakened by obligation. The man who sought love ends up negotiating peace treaties inside his own living room. And the man who dreamed of shaping his destiny ends up reshaped by duties he never fully agreed to. That is not freedom. That is domestication disguised as devotion. 3. Happy wife, happy life, psychological conditioning. Don't be fooled. The most dangerous manipulation doesn't happen in a courtroom, it happens in the mind. From the time you step into marriage, you're trained subtly, persistently, to place her happiness above your own. That is not partnership. That is programming. It tells you that sacrifice equals love, that service defines your worth. But what it really creates is a one-sided power dynamic where one person's emotions become law and the other's joy is conditional, dependent, expendable. Schopenhauer warned, a man can only be himself so long as he is alone. Modern Stoic men must reflect on this truth. Old Stoic wisdom teaches that a man must guard his independence as fiercely as his honor. Without solitude, without space, without self-determination, a man loses the conditions that make him authentic. And the tragedy? It doesn't happen with a single blow. It happens slowly. It disguises itself as harmony, compromise, peace. One evening, you give up a night with your brothers just to avoid conflict. Another time, you nod along at her choice of restaurant, telling yourself it's easier that way. Soon, you let her decide the social plans, the family schedules, the very direction of your life. Each concession feels small in the moment. Each choice feels harmless. But stacked together, they form a cage. Your agency shrinks. Your sovereignty dissolves. You wake up one day and realize you are no longer steering your own ship. Don't allow your mind to be captured under the banner of keeping the peace. That is not peace, it is surrender. That is not harmony, it is self-erasure. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, reminded men, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The modern Stoic man must reclaim that strength. He must see compromise for what it often is, a slow erosion of his fire, his choices, his masculine edge. Don't confuse love with obedience. Don't confuse patience with silence. Don't confuse sacrifice with slavery. If your happiness only exists as a reaction to hers, then you have already lost yourself. And once you lose yourself, what do you really have left to give? Men today must live like the old Stoic philosophers taught, with clarity, with courage, with unshakable presence. You must guard your freedom the way a soldier guards his sword. You must be vigilant against small compromises that pile into chains. Ask yourself, are you living as a man with agency or as a shadow serving someone else's script? The hidden truth is this. Marriage in its modern form can exploit the very virtues, loyalty, responsibility, sacrifice that once made men strong. Don't let that truth own you. Own it. Learn from it. Rise above it. Reclaim your time, your choices, your independence. Be the man who leads his life, not the man who merely reacts to hers. That is stoicism in practice. That is sovereignty in action. And that is victory. 4. The behavioral pattern of women in marriage. Don't let the predictability of relationship rhythms catch you off guard. Be the man who sees the pattern and acts with clarity. During courtship, many women lean into maximum connection, playful energy, shared interests, fewer demands, warmth everywhere, and that feels amazing. That is the honeymoon incentive structure at work. Once commitment is secured, incentives shift. Affection can feel conditional. Shared interests narrow toward family priorities, requests rise, and the woman who once adapted to you now expects you to adapt to the shared life you built. You must understand this isn't villainy. It's incentives and instincts converging. Evolution, culture, and the daily pressures of home naturally push both partners, women included, towards stability, provisioning, and risk reduction. That is, the system does what systems do, protect the nest. The mistake men make is assuming the early dynamic will manage itself. It won't. Don't resent the shift. Read it, name it, and renegotiate it with strength and goodwill. Here are psychology tips that save years. Keep your identity as a non-negotiable. Purpose, friends, fitness, craft. Because when you drop those, you become easier to manage, but harder to desire. Be steady, not soft. Kindness without boundaries invites scope creep. You must treat intimacy as a living culture you both co create, not a vending machine that dispenses on perfect behavior. That is why smart love advice starts early. From day one, set the tone that affection, respect, and desire are mutual practices, not prizes. Praise what you want more of, but never bribe for connection. For practical psychology tips, frame requests around shared wins instead of compliance. Let's both protect Friday date night so we bring our best selves to the week and keep score fairly. Shared budgets, shared chores, shared rest. Don't seed the calendar. Guard rituals that make you magnetic. Men's nights, deep work blocks, training sessions. Be the thermostat, not the thermometer. Set the temperature of the relationship through your standards, not her moods. You must continue courting your wife like a lover, not managing her like a project. Plan small adventures, create novelty, lead with calm energy. Paradoxically, when you protect your edge, attraction often returns because you're leading yourself first. That is where dating tips meet married life. Flirt again, tease lightly, hold eye contact, speak less and mean more, and keep mystery by staying in motion toward worthy goals. Don't wage war against biology, align with it. If she's optimizing for security, demonstrate security without becoming domesticated, competence, decisiveness, generosity with backbone. When demands rise, ask, what's the trade? Build agreements with timelines and measures so nobody drifts into quiet resentment. For men who want love advice that actually works, remember, admiration fuels attraction. People don't desire what they pity. Be admirable, fit, useful, emotionally composed, ethically anchored. You must communicate like a leader. State your needs plainly, invite hers, and negotiate until both feel seen. Intimacy grows where clarity and safety meet tension and play. That is the hidden truth. Relationships aren't static. They're negotiated cultures that drift toward convenience unless someone steers. Use dating tips even after the vows, micro touches when you pass, a private joke, a 5-minute focused check in at night, and ensure sex stays a celebration, not a scoreboard. Talk openly about desire, frequency, and fantasies like adults, not prosecutors. Don't accept a slide into roommate mode. Design against it. Be responsible without becoming replaceable. Keep rare qualities, courage, composure under stress, discernment, so you remain the man she chose, not a diluted version. You must also audit your own contribution. Are you leading with initiative or waiting to be told? Are you solving problems upstream or firefighting downstream? That is the final frame. This isn't about blaming women. It's about understanding incentives and writing a better script. When you bring steady leadership, fair structure, and playful polarity, you transform the same evolutionary currents from traps into tailwinds. So, adopt psychology tips that respect reality, lean on love advice that honors both of you, and keep practicing dating tips that preserve mystery. Be calm, be kind, be unshakably you, and watch the dynamic rise to meet the man you decide to be. 5. The conditional nature of love. Here lies a brutal truth most men would rather cover with flowers and fairy tales. A wife's love is conditional. It is not anchored to his soul, his spirit, or his intrinsic worth. It is chained to his usefulness. The moment his value slips, whether from financial collapse, declining health, or the slow poison of familiarity that kills desire, the temperature of her love begins to cool. This isn't cynicism. This is observation backed by hard reality. Love psychology shows us that desire and affection are rarely unconditional. They are tethered to benefit, security, and satisfaction. That is why statistics speak louder than wedding vows. Women initiate 70 to 80% of divorces, and they don't leave simply because of vague unhappiness. They leave when the calculation changes, when the marriage no longer aligns with their relationship goals, when the cost outweighs the benefit, and when the prospect of better terms elsewhere begins to gleam on the horizon. A man must face this with courage, not with denial. Don't lull yourself with the illusion that loyalty alone will shield you. Be honest. Ask yourself, how many married men do you know who still walk with fire in their eyes, with sovereignty in their step, with confidence that makes them attract women like they once did in their youth? Too few. Because marriage, as constructed today, doesn't merely test love, it monetizes it, bureaucratizes it, and when it fails, penalizes one side far more than the other. The family court system steps in not as a neutral arbiter, but as an extractor, ensuring that even when the marriage collapses, the man keeps paying. Alimony, child support, asset division, resources stripped from a man who now funds a household he no longer belongs to. Imagine a contract where even after termination, the losing party must keep paying for services no longer received. That is modern marriage. The metaphor is clear. Marriage is like a business partnership where one party can leave at will, take half the assets, and still demand monthly payments, while the other has no such exit strategy. Don't romanticize it. Be strategic. Understand the rules before you play the game. If you choose to marry, you must know the battlefield, not walk blindly into it with flowers in hand. This doesn't mean you must become bitter or loveless. Quite the opposite. It means you must become wiser, more grounded, and deeply aware of human nature. As Marcus Aurelius said, you must understand the nature of the game if you wish not to be played. So, what should a man do? First, recognize that conditional love is the reality, not the exception. Don't expect guarantees in a world driven by shifting incentives. Build yourself into a man of value who is not only desirable, but also sovereign. Work on your health, your finances, and your charisma. Remember that to attract women is not just about charm, but about presence, strength, and the ability to walk away if the deal no longer serves you. Second, align your relationship goals with clarity. Don't get swept away by emotion alone. Demand alignment in values, loyalty, and long-term vision. Third, practice vigilance. Be the man who doesn't get blindsided because he refused to read the fine print. At the end of the day, marriage is not inherently evil, but it is a system with incentives stacked unevenly. Don't hate the system, master it. Don't fear love, understand it. Don't walk in blind, walk in with eyes wide open. That is the hidden truth most men never hear until it's too late. And that is why you must never forget. Love may be conditional, but your sovereignty must never be. If you found this truth eye-opening, make sure to like this video, share it with a friend who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more psychology tips and hidden truths about relationships. To lock this lesson into your mind, drop a comment below with the affirmation, I choose truth over conditional love. 6. The psychological toll. The psychological toll of marriage is not just about money, it runs deeper, cutting into a man's very identity and sense of worth, reshaping his inner world until he barely recognizes himself. Over time, he learns that his thoughts, feelings, and desires are secondary to maintaining peace at home. His role becomes reactive, not proactive. He exists to fix, to soothe, to absorb. Psychologists call this learned helplessness, a condition where repeated exposure to conflict and stress convinces a man that resistance is useless. And so he surrenders not because he lacks needs, but because experience has taught him that speaking up only invites more conflict. Slowly, he develops what could be called a form of domestic Stockholm syndrome. He starts defending the very system that exploits him, aligning with goals that are not his own, and telling himself lies like sacrifice equals love, or real men always put their family first, no matter the cost. Don't be fooled. That is not partnership, it is servitude. Marcus Aurelius, the old Stoic emperor, warned, a man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions. Yet society pushes the opposite. The media glorifies the man who burns himself out for everyone else. Religion sanctifies blind sacrifice, praising men who erase themselves. Even other men reinforce the lie, clapping for their own chains, unwilling to admit their defeat. And this is where you must wake up. You must look at modern life through the lens of a modern Stoic, not the broken lens society hands you. Ask yourself, are you living as a free man or as a well-trained servant? Seneca, one of the old Stoics, declared, no man is free who is a slave to his body. I will add, no man is free who is a slave to an institution that tells him his value is in silence and self-erasure. Don't mistake exploitation for love. Don't call obedience commitment. Don't label your slow decay as duty. Be alert, be conscious. That is how a modern Stoic lives, in awareness, in strength, in sovereignty. The lesson of Stoicism is not passive endurance, but active mastery, the ability to control what is within you and refuse to bow to what is unjust. You must take back your agency, your fire, your ambitions. Yes, sacrifice is noble when chosen freely, but when demanded and exploited, it is poison. Stop letting guilt and fear chain you. Start living as a man who knows his worth. Society may cheer when you sacrifice yourself, but only you will pay the price in silence, resentment, and regret. Instead, let's redefine what it means to be a husband, a father, a man, not as a beast of burden, but as a leader, a protector, a soul with purpose. The world respects power, not submission. The old Stoic wisdom and the modern Stoic mindset agree. You cannot serve others fully if you have destroyed yourself in the process. Take this seriously, take it personally. Don't accept the myth that marriage as it stands is your destiny. You must rise above it, reclaim your freedom, and master your life. 7. The true nature of marriage. Marriage, when stripped of its romantic illusions, reveals itself not as a sanctuary of unconditional love, but as a system of leverage where power flows to the one with more options. And this truth, though uncomfortable, is vital for men to grasp. A man who believes he can secure loyalty through endless sacrifice has already lost the game because he confuses duty with devotion and service with security. Failing to see that in its modern form, marriage is not the eternal union of souls, but a binding contract that holds regardless of fading passion, shifting emotions, or evolving needs. That is why great thinkers like Schopenhauer warned us that happiness is never a positive gain, but the absence of suffering. Meaning, real contentment comes not from another person filling your void, but from mastering yourself and needing no one to complete you. A lesson every man must take seriously if he wants to maintain freedom. Don't be deceived by the promise that marriage will automatically grant you fulfillment. Because when you outsource your happiness to partnership and shared goals, you put your sovereignty on the auction block and hand over the leash willingly. Be wise and recognize that marriage today often functions less as a partnership and more as a social machine designed to strip away independence, pushing men to trade their fire and identity for a role of compliant provider. That is why psychology tips, love advice, and dating tips become crucial weapons for the modern man. They show you how to see through illusions, how to attract women without surrendering control, and how to engage in relationships without losing your own center. You must remember that women respect men who choose from abundance, not desperation, because the one with options sets the rules, and the one who clings begs for scraps. Don't let the fear of being alone push you into believing marriage is your only path to meaning. Be the man who views it as an optional arrangement, never a guarantee of salvation. When you operate from this mindset, you reclaim power because you see marriage not as destiny, but as choice, not as cage, but as contract, not as your source of joy, but as one possible chapter in a story you control. That is why the strongest men never chase validation through vows, but cultivate strength, discipline, and self reliance first. They know that if marriage aligns with their vision, it can be embraced. But if it doesn't, they walk away without fear. Don't ask for a lighter load, ask for broader shoulders, Jan, said Roosevelt. And this applies perfectly here. Don't ask marriage to save you, ask yourself to be strong enough to never need saving. Be the man who understands that love advice is not about blind devotion, but about strategic wisdom. That psychology tips are not about compliance, but about clarity. And that dating tips are not about manipulation, but about self mastery. You must master yourself before you can master any relationship. Because the man who depends on marriage for happiness has already surrendered his freedom. But the man who carries happiness within can enter or exit any union and remain sovereign. And that, my brothers, is the hidden truth you cannot afford to ignore. 8. The man's strategic response. Most men fail not because they are weak, but because they try to fight a battle that was lost before it even began. They think they can negotiate with nature itself. They tell themselves, if I just communicate better, if I earn more money, if I hit the gym and become more attractive, things will shift in my favor. But that's like trying to bargain with gravity. Gravity doesn't care, and neither does evolutionary programming. Love psychology teaches us that women aren't consciously plotting every move any more than men consciously choose to be drawn to youth and fertility. It happens beneath awareness, a current stronger than reason. Don't fool yourself into believing you can charm or buy your way out of that truth. Be honest with yourself. Have you ever tried to fix a broken dynamic by giving more, only to find yourself valued less? That is the paradox. The harder you try, the easier it becomes for her to see you not as a man with dreams, goals, and individuality, but as a role, a provider, protector, emotional sponge, problem solver. When that happens, you stop being her partner and start being her employee. The moment you become indispensable to her lifestyle, you become dispensable as a person. That is the hidden trap, the one few men dare to say out loud. From the outside, it still looks like marriage. But on the inside, it becomes something else entirely, a form of quiet servitude dressed up as love, with occasional sexual privileges thrown in like workplace bonuses. Efficient? Yes. Equal partnership? Number. You must see it clearly. This is not about romance, it's about roles. And roles, when locked in without balance, crush the soul. That's why so many married men fade into shadows of their former selves. Studies even show that married men often die younger, suffer higher rates of depression, and lose touch with the spark that once made them alive. They aren't beaten down by life's natural hardships. They're suffocating under chronic psychological exploitation that's been repackaged as responsibility. Don't let yourself be consumed by a system that pretends to be mutual while slowly draining your spirit. Be alert. Be intentional. Ask yourself, are you building relationship goals that honor both your needs and hers? Or are you quietly slipping into servitude while telling yourself you're doing the right thing? Remember, the successful men, the ones who really understand this truth, never brag about it. They simply step outside the rigged game. They refuse to play by rules that ensure their loss. That is wisdom. As Marcus Aurelius once said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. So here's the psychology tip you must carry. Don't compete where the game is fixed. Don't try to buy love with money, favors, or endless sacrifice. Instead, anchor yourself in your own value. Build relationship goals that align with your soul and focus on becoming the man who can attract women not because he bends, but because he stands. That is the man who wins respect, who lives free, and who never wakes up one day wondering where his life went. 9. The path to psychological sovereignty. The path to psychological sovereignty is not about chasing validation or living in constant fear of rejection. It is about mastering yourself, and that requires ruthless inner work. Don't cling to the part of you that begs for approval, especially from women, because that hunger enslaves you. As Marcus Aurelius, the old Stoic, once said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. You must build a life so complete, so compelling, so anchored in mission that no relationship drama can shake you. Don't be the man who begs or pleads for love. Be the man who stands so firmly in his independence that solitude itself becomes his fortress. That is psychological sovereignty. And paradoxically, this very independence is what draws others in, because the law of scarcity never changes. What is rare commands attention, what is abundant is ignored. When you are constantly available, endlessly agreeable, and desperate to please, you broadcast weakness. Women's evolutionary psychology, whether they admit it or not, interprets that neediness as inferiority. They may praise niceness in words, but desire doesn't ignite in response to weakness. It shuts down. Contrast that with the man who enforces his standards, guards his time, and stays true to his mission, even when it creates friction. He becomes magnetic. He flips the script. Instead of chasing, he is chased. Instead of proving himself, he demands others prove themselves worthy of him. That role reversal is addictive, and it aligns with primal courtship patterns written deep in human biology. The modern Stoic understands this truth just as the old Stoic did. Real power is never in begging, it is in mastery of the self. Don't give away your time cheaply. Don't surrender your mission for temporary comfort. Don't let your worth be measured by someone else's approval. You must live with the clarity that your life is your empire, and you are its ruler. Man conquers the world by conquering himself, wrote Zeno, founder of Stoicism. And that wisdom remains as sharp in modern life as it was in ancient times. Today, when distractions scream for your attention, when social media rewards fake validation, when relationships are shaped by instant gratification, your strength must come from stillness, discipline, and purpose. Be that man who commands respect through his actions, not his words. Be the one who attracts women, not by pleading, but by embodying independence. Be the one who sees love as a blessing, not a crutch. This is how you rise above exploitation. This is how you claim freedom. This is how you master life. So I ask you, are you willing to kill the weak part of you that clings to approval and embrace the stoicism that makes men truly powerful? The choice is yours, but the victory will belong only to those who dare. 10. The ultimate truth and final choice. Schopenhauer's ultimate truth was not simply about women, nor was it just about marriage. It was about transcending the invisible programming that drives most men's lives. Once you see the code, you can finally decide whether to be ruled by it or to master it. That is the essence of the red pill, not bitterness, not cynicism, but a ruthless commitment to truth. Don't let illusions guide your life. Don't let desperation masquerade as devotion. Be awake. Be conscious. Be sovereign. The strong man learns to stand alone so that when he chooses connection, it is by will, not by need. He learns to attract women not through games or empty gestures, but through the power of his independence. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, he who lives in harmony with himself lives in harmony with the universe. The man who has conquered his inner world becomes unshakable in the outer world. He loves without clinging, gives without losing himself, engages without surrendering his identity. That is power. That is love psychology at its highest form. And here is the paradox. The less he needs relationships, the stronger his relationships become. Why? Because real love is not born from weakness, but from strength. It is not built on dependency, but on sovereignty. Two complete individuals can form a union that enhances both lives without diminishing either. Such relationships become true relationship goals, not the hollow imitations you see plastered on social media, but the kind forged by character, discipline, and freedom. Don't confuse possession with partnership. Don't confuse validation with love. Be the man who chooses, not the man who begs. Most men never arrive here. Why? Because inner work is hard. Facing your demons, breaking free of childhood programming, rejecting the comforting lies of society, all of that takes courage. But the man who does this work becomes rare, valuable, magnetic. He doesn't chase. He attracts women naturally. He doesn't cling. He offers. He doesn't collapse under pressure. He grows stronger. He remains free, whether he marries or not. He can walk toward love when it serves him and walk away when it doesn't without losing himself. That is sovereignty. That is power. And as Nietzsche reminded us, no price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself. The choice, then, is brutally simple. Continue down the path of psychological slavery disguised as love, or rise into sovereignty and create a life where authentic love is possible. One road leads to quiet misery, subtle resentment, and a life spent serving expectations. The other road leads to freedom, strength, and rare, powerful connection. The difference between the two is not luck. It is not fate. It is not chance. It is consciousness and courage. Don't forget this truth. Don't excuse weakness. Be awake. Be decisive. Be free. Because in the end, your future self will look back at the man you are today and either thank you for your courage or curse you for your cowardice. Choose wisely. Your freedom, your strength, and your love depend on it. Brothers, at the end of the day, the choice really is in your hands. And that's both a responsibility and a gift. Don't be the man who gives away his freedom, his mind, and his soul just to chase after conditional love that disappears when your usefulness runs out. Be the man who stands tall, who chooses awareness, and who has the courage to protect his psychological sovereignty. My sincere advice to you is this. Take the harder road because that road, the road of self-mastery and truth, will always lead you to freedom and authentic connection. Real love isn't about filling your emptiness. It's about two complete people coming together. Remember, your future self will either thank you or curse you for the decisions you make today. So choose wisely, live boldly, and never forget you owe it to yourself to become the man you were meant to be. Thanks for being here with me today, my friend. Stay strong, stay aware, and I'll see you in the next one. And if this message spoke to you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with another man who needs to hear this truth. Your support keeps this message alive and helps more men wake up to their own power. If she does this, walk away forever. Psychology tips. When you love someone, it's easy to overlook the little things that shouldn't be overlooked. Love can make us blind to behaviors that, if observed from the outside, would be immediate red flags. When you're in love, you might justify actions that you'd never tolerate from anyone else. What you once considered small or trivial may actually be signs of disrespect that are slowly undermining your sense of self-worth. But here's the truth. You don't have to let it go that far. If she displays certain behaviors, they're not simply quirks or harmless habits. They're signals that should not be ignored. The longer you let these signs slide, the deeper their impact becomes. And before you know it, you're not the man you used to be. Today, we're going to dive into 10 specific actions that, if you notice them, should immediately raise the alarm. These behaviors are not innocent. They are warning signs that could lead to irreversible damage in your relationship. It's essential to recognize them early before you lose yourself entirely. So, before we jump into the first sign, make sure you subscribe and hit the like button to stay updated on valuable content like this. While you're at it, leave a comment below to share where you're watching from. It's amazing to see how men everywhere face similar challenges in relationships. Now, let's get started. The first sign may seem harmless, but in reality, it's the seed of betrayal. Number 1. If she still flirts with other men while she's supposed to be with you. If she still flirts with other men while she's supposed to be with you, it's time to walk away. This isn't just harmless fun, it's a test of boundaries. A woman who is genuinely invested in you will not spread her energy around like confetti. She'll focus it on the man she respects, the man she's committed to. So when she flirts openly, whether it's with a waiter, a coworker, or some random guy, she's delivering a loud, clear message. You're not enough to hold my focus. The moment you accept this behavior, you give her silent permission to disrespect you again and again. This kind of behavior sets you up for betrayal. It might not happen today or tomorrow, but the door is already wide open. Flirting isn't just innocent fun, it's often a rehearsal for the next opportunity. Don't sugarcoat it as just part of her personality or dismiss it as playful. That small crack in the foundation of trust will always spread into something much bigger. If she needs validation from other men to feel alive, you're not her choice, you're her placeholder. You're wasting your time and energy competing with an invisible crowd that she invites into your relationship. And that's not love, it's insecurity disguised as charm. Respect is the cornerstone of intimacy, and when she chooses to flirt right in front of you, she's telling you that her ego boost matters more than your dignity. You can either walk away now or stay and watch your confidence dissolve, piece by piece. If you choose to stay, know this. You're signing up for a lifetime of doubt, jealousy, and silent pain you never deserved. Psychology tips. Don't tolerate disrespect. In relationships, healthy boundaries aren't just necessary, they're essential. Love advice. A woman who values you will make you her priority, not just a fallback. Dating tips. Always look for signs that show her level of commitment. Flirting with other men is a red flag you can't afford to ignore. Number 2. Pay attention to how she treats her phone around you. You may think that all relationships are built on mutual respect, but what happens when you notice certain red flags? One of the most telling signs is how she treats her phone when you're around. It's not just about privacy, it's about secrecy, and there's a vast difference. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you're sitting with her, having a pleasant moment together, and then you reach for your phone, casually looking to check a message or maybe scroll through a few notifications. But what happens next? If you notice her body stiffen, her voice sharpens, or even worse, if she suddenly feels the need to snatch the phone away, as if it's the most precious thing on earth, you're not witnessing a healthy respect for privacy. You're witnessing secrecy in action. And let me tell you, secrecy is the enemy of trust. It might be disguised as a desire for privacy, but make no mistake. It's a wall built high to protect something that doesn't belong in the light of day. A relationship thrives on openness, on the ability to share your lives with each other without fear of judgment or repercussions. If every time she touches her phone, you feel like you're being locked out, that's a major problem. Think about it for a second. What's hiding behind that screen that she doesn't want you to see? Is it messages from someone else? Hidden conversations? Or perhaps it's the uncomfortable truth that she doesn't respect you enough to be transparent with even the smallest details. Now, I know you might be tempted to brush it off with the excuse, everyone deserves privacy. But here's the thing, you must differentiate between privacy and secrecy. Privacy is respecting each other's space, but secrecy? That's a form of control. That's a silent message saying, you don't have a right to know what I'm doing. When she becomes defensive, evasive, or downright hostile every time you casually ask about her phone, that's not privacy. It's a warning sign. And here's the reality, you cannot build a relationship on suspicion. Suspicion erodes trust, and trust is the foundation of any meaningful relationship. Imagine every night you fall asleep next to her, trusting her with your heart, your safety, your peace of mind, and your future. But if she can't trust you enough to share something as basic as a text message or call log, then where does that leave you? In that moment, you need to ask yourself, how can you trust her with your life, your dreams, or your emotions if she's hiding the little things from you? The key to attracting women, love psychology, and achieving true relationship goals is transparency. If you're constantly left feeling like you're in the dark, if you're left wondering what she's hiding behind that phone screen, then the intimacy you think you're building is nothing more than a facade. Walls don't protect love, they protect lies. Don't let yourself be fooled by excuses. If her phone is like a locked vault and she's creating walls to keep you out, then it's time to take a step back. You're not in a loving, trusting relationship. You're in the waiting room of betrayal. The longer you stay, the more it costs you in trust, in peace, and in your dignity. Real love is built on openness, on honesty, and on the courage to share even the smallest details of your day. If you're not getting that from her, then it's time to ask yourself, what are you really building here? Is it a future or just a waiting game for heartbreak? You deserve more than secrecy and lies. You deserve a relationship where you can both be open, vulnerable, and trusting. Don't settle for less. Number 3, watch what happens when it comes time to define the relationship. If months have passed and she still dodges the question, refuses to call you her boyfriend, or avoids introducing you properly to others, that's not an accident. It's a choice. She is deliberately keeping you in limbo, close enough to benefit from your attention, but never enough to commit. Let me make this clear. This is not about her being unsure or needing more time. This is about her keeping her options open. A modern Stoic man understands his value. He does not sit idly by, waiting for recognition that never comes. If she truly wants you, she won't hesitate to claim you. She won't hide you like some secret. Commitment phobia isn't about needing space or time. It's about maintaining control. If she hesitates to give you that simple title, boyfriend, then she's telling you, without words, that she doesn't see you as permanent. She sees you as convenient. The old Stoics taught us that clarity is essential in every relationship. If she's withholding that clarity, it's because she doesn't view you as her partner. She views you as a placeholder. And if you've allowed this to go on for months, you've made a mistake. You've placed yourself in the position of waiting for something that will never come. You are not her man. You are her option. Let me be blunt. If after 3 months she still refuses to define your role in her life, it's already been defined. You are not her priority. She is not committed to you. She's stalling, hoping you'll keep waiting around for something more. But no matter how patient you are, nothing will change. She knows exactly what she's doing, and it's not fair to you. You are worthy of more than just being an option. Remember, relationships are built on clear communication. If she can't proudly say you're her man, then she's telling you she doesn't value you the way you deserve. A Stoic man does not beg for breadcrumbs. He does not tolerate being strung along. You have the power to walk away and never look back. Don't let her play games. If you're waiting for her to define your relationship, you're already losing. In the meantime, focus on your own growth. Your life should not revolve around someone who keeps you in uncertainty. When you stand firm in your worth, you attract those who see and value you for exactly who you are. Number 4, pay close attention to how much she actually cares about you. Pay close attention to how much she truly cares about you. Genuine care isn't about grand gestures. It's about the small, everyday things she does that show she values you. When a woman truly cares, nurturing you comes naturally. She checks in on you. She supports you. She notices when something's off in your life. It's not the big acts of romance that matter most. It's the consistent, thoughtful gestures that show you matter to her. But let's be real. If she never asks how you're doing, if she never shows concern for your struggles, or if she only lifts a finger when there's something in it for her, then what you have isn't a relationship. It's a transaction. You're not building something meaningful, you're merely filling a role in her life that benefits her, and that's dangerous. The more you invest in someone who doesn't reciprocate that care, the more you'll drain yourself trying to win affection that isn't there. You'll find yourself constantly giving, seeking validation, but never getting the connection you deserve. A woman who only takes but never gives has no real bond with you. She's using your time, energy, and possibly even your resources without offering anything meaningful in return. This imbalance is damaging. It's not love, it's emotional consumption, and you're the one being consumed. You'll feel it deep inside, the loneliness, the one sidedness, the emptiness after every interaction. And that's when you must act. Love isn't a vending machine where you endlessly pour in effort and expect something in return. If she can't meet you with the same level of care, consideration, and respect that you bring to her, then she's not choosing you. She's simply using you. A strong man knows when the scales are off balance. He doesn't keep giving to someone who isn't giving back. You must understand that if she doesn't show genuine care, it's not because she forgot or is too busy. It's because you're not her priority. And when you realize this, it's time to walk away with your dignity intact. Don't waste your time in a relationship that isn't fulfilling you. Recognize the signs of someone who's simply consuming you. Walk away and reclaim your energy, your peace, and your worth. You deserve someone who values you as much as you value them. Trust yourself, trust your instincts, and know that true love is built on mutual care and respect. If that's not there, it's time to move on. Psychology tips for men: if she doesn't show up for you emotionally, walk away. Your love advice: don't settle for anything less than someone who treats you with the same care and attention you give. Dating tips: a relationship is a partnership, not a one-way street. Never ignore the red flags that tell you you're being drained. If you found this message valuable, comment below and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe for more wisdom. Comment to remember: I choose balance and respect in my relationships. Number 5, pay attention to whether she keeps her word. When it comes to building a strong and lasting relationship, one of the most revealing signs of a person's character is whether they keep their word. This may sound simple, but trust me, it's a fundamental part of any healthy relationship. Words are more than just sounds or promises, they're the foundation of trust and respect. So when she says something and doesn't follow through, it's not just a minor issue. It's a big red flag that shouldn't be ignored. If a woman constantly makes promises and fails to deliver, this isn't just forgetfulness. It's a clear signal of disregard. Think about it. Every time someone tells you, I'll call you, I'll be there, or I'll take care of it, they're making a small contract with you, and each time she breaks one of these promises, she's showing you that she doesn't value your time or trust. Relationships are built on these little agreements, and if she repeatedly breaks them, it becomes obvious that she doesn't see them or you as important. This issue isn't just about the inconvenience of being let down. It's about the deeper erosion of your trust. Broken promises are not isolated incidents, they're patterns, and patterns reveal priorities. If she can't keep the small commitments, how can you trust her with the big ones? Can you truly rely on her for the important things when her track record shows a blatant disregard for the little things? You might start making excuses for her, convincing yourself that it's no big deal. But in reality, every time she doesn't follow through, she's telling you exactly how much or how little she values you. It's easy to ignore, especially if you're in love or emotionally invested. But this is where the slippery slope begins. You lower your standards, you rationalize, and eventually you find yourself stuck in a situation where nothing is solid. She promises one thing and delivers another, and you end up feeling like you're always waiting for her to get it together. But this isn't about her being forgetful. It's about a pattern of behavior that shows you her true priorities. A woman who truly cares for you and values your relationship will protect her credibility with you. She knows that the foundation of trust is built on consistency and integrity. If she doesn't keep her word, she's not just disrespecting you in the moment, she's showing you a lack of care and commitment. In a relationship, respect isn't just about the good times. It's about whether her actions align with her words, especially when it counts. And if she can't do that, the love she claims to have for you becomes questionable. Don't ignore broken promises. They're not accidents. They're signs of a deeper issue, patterns of behavior that speak volumes about how much she respects you and the relationship. If you continue to tolerate this, you'll find yourself in a relationship where nothing is real and where nothing is built to last. A relationship without trust, accountability, and respect is destined for failure. And if she doesn't respect you, she can't truly love you. So, what should you do? It's simple. Pay attention. Don't let her words become empty promises. Demand the same level of respect and accountability that you bring to the table. If she can't deliver, walk away. You deserve better. Respect is the foundation of any successful relationship, and if she doesn't respect you, there's no future in that connection. It's time to make the hard choice for your own peace and happiness. Number 6, notice where you rank in her life. Every man knows life gets busy, work, family, personal responsibilities. But here's the truth. When a woman truly values you, no matter how hectic her schedule is, she will make time for you. If weeks go by and you're the one always waiting, always fighting for the scraps of her time, then you are not her priority. That's the harsh reality many men overlook, convincing themselves that she's just stressed or that things will improve over time. But if you're constantly the one trying to fit into her life, only seeing her once in a while, competing with her phone, her friends, or the endless distractions she surrounds herself with, then you already have your answer. You are not important enough. Don't fool yourself into thinking it's anything other than what it is. The truth is simple. People make time for what they care about. Period. A woman who loves you doesn't need a reminder to show up. She wants to be with you. She craves your presence. She seeks out your voice. She'll make it happen, even in the chaos of life, because that's what commitment looks like. But if she can't do that, or worse, if she won't, then you're not the one she's committed to. You're simply an option, the when I feel like it choice. And no man, especially a modern Stoic, should ever accept being anyone's backup plan. There's no room for excuses in the realm of true love. If you're not a priority, it's not because she's too busy, it's because she's made the conscious decision to put you last. It's a painful truth, but a necessary one. A man who values himself knows that this is not love, it's slow destruction. The old Stoic understood that our worth is not found in waiting for someone else to value us. We stand firm in our own integrity, knowing we are deserving of a love that prioritizes us. Don't accept being second. You are worthy of someone who sees your value, who is willing to stand by you and fight for you, just as you fight for her. In life, you must learn to make yourself a priority, not just for others, but for yourself. Be unwavering in your standards. And remember, Stoicism teaches us not to settle. You're not someone's side note, you're their main event. Let that sink in. You deserve nothing less than a love that chooses you first, not as an afterthought. You must never compromise your self-respect for the illusion of love. If she can't make time for you, walk away. Because a man who respects himself knows that waiting around for scraps isn't just unfair, it's self-sabotage. Always prioritize your own value and live by the wisdom of Stoicism. You are enough, with or without someone else's validation. So, remember this, and let it empower you. If she can't make you a priority, then it's time to walk away and reclaim your peace. Never forget, you are not second choice. You are the one who deserves the first place in someone's life. Number 7, watch for double standards. This is one of the clearest signs that your relationship is imbalanced. If she feels free to do things she condemns you for, it's not love, it's control. The situation may look like this. She goes out with her friends whenever she wants, but the second you make plans, she accuses you of being distant. She keeps her phone locked tight but demands full access to yours. She enjoys her freedom but expects you to constantly report in. This isn't about fairness, it's about power. A double standard is her way of putting herself above you, setting rules she doesn't intend to follow and forcing you to play by them. It's a tactic used by someone who doesn't see you as an equal partner, but rather as someone to manage, to control, to contain. Too often, men fall into the trap of thinking they can negotiate with this imbalance. They start compromising, bending, justifying their actions, telling themselves that keeping the peace is worth the sacrifice. But over time, they realize the peace is only for her. She enjoys the freedom while you carry the weight. You are bending over backwards, trying to maintain harmony, while she moves freely and without consequence. You begin to question yourself. Is this really love? Number. It isn't. A healthy relationship is built on reciprocity. What's good for her should be good for you. What's unacceptable for her should be unacceptable for you. If the rules don't apply equally, then you're not in a partnership. You're in a hierarchy. And in that hierarchy, you're not the leader. You're the servant. The moment you tolerate double standards, you lose your respect. Once your respect is gone, everything else, love, attraction, intimacy, follows right out the door. So here's your psychology tip. Recognize when the relationship has shifted from mutual respect to power play. The moment you allow double standards, you've lost. It's critical to call out these behaviors early. If she can't respect you as an equal partner, then it's time to walk away forever. Love advice. Always demand respect in a relationship. Without it, you cannot have true love. Dating tips. Set boundaries early. If she can't respect your boundaries now, she won't respect them later. Stand firm and be clear about your values. You must understand this. You are worthy of a partnership, not a hierarchy. Do not tolerate anything less. Keep your respect because that is what keeps the love alive. If you've recognized the red flags of double standards, it's time to take a stand. A true partnership is built on equality and respect. If you're ready to stop tolerating the imbalance, comment below. I deserve respect in my relationship. Number 8, pay attention to how she speaks to you. A woman who constantly puts you down, mocks you, or makes subtle jabs at your confidence isn't just joking around. She's subtly but surely chipping away at your self-worth. At first, these comments might seem small. Just a sarcastic remark about your appearance, a dismissive comment about your job, or a laugh at your expense in front of others. But over time, these little digs accumulate, wearing you down until you start to doubt yourself. This behavior isn't love, it's manipulation. It's power disguised as humor. Some women thrive on making their partner feel small because it boosts their own sense of importance. And when you tolerate it, when you laugh it off or shrug it away, you're allowing her to slowly erode your self-esteem. Make no mistake, you are not in a relationship when someone diminishes you at every turn. You're in a toxic dynamic where your sense of self is under constant attack. A woman who truly loves you won't tear you down. She will build you up. When she respects you, she wants to see you stand tall, strong, and confident. If her words are tearing at your confidence more than they're nurturing it, something is seriously wrong. Respect isn't optional in a relationship, it's foundational. Without respect, the bond you share can't survive. Without mutual respect, you're merely coexisting, not thriving. Think about it. No relationship can grow in an environment where one partner consistently puts the other down. Respect is the oxygen that keeps it alive. If she can't speak to you with basic dignity, then she's not your partner, she's your critic. And no man should wake up every day to someone who treats him like a project to be fixed or a punchline to be mocked. The danger is subtle at first. It feels like harmless teasing, like small digs you can shrug off. But what happens when the teasing turns into a pattern? When it becomes your daily reality? That's when it starts to affect your mindset, your confidence, and even your identity. You begin to believe what she's telling you about yourself. You begin to feel smaller, less capable, less deserving of love and respect. This is emotional erosion. A woman who truly cares about you will want to lift you up. She will encourage your dreams, bolster your spirit, and affirm your worth, not with empty compliments, but with actions that show she values you for who you truly are. If her words cut more than they heal, then you're not in a relationship. You're in a slow demolition of your spirit. You must act before the damage becomes permanent. Don't wait until there's nothing left of your confidence. Walk away. The longer you stay in a situation where you're being emotionally drained, the harder it will be to rebuild yourself. Remember, in love psychology, a healthy relationship is built on mutual respect, support, and encouragement. If your partner isn't lifting you higher, then it's time to reassess your relationship goals. No one, especially a man striving to attract women, should ever tolerate emotional manipulation disguised as humor. You deserve more than someone who makes you feel less. You deserve a partner who sees you as worthy of admiration, respect, and love. Don't settle for less. Walk away before the damage becomes permanent. Number 9, pay attention to how she treats the people closest to you. If she is constantly criticizing your friends, mocking your family, or refusing to spend time with them, that's not just a personal preference, it's a red flag. When a woman disrespects the people who helped shape you, who supported you, and who stood by you, she's indirectly disrespecting you. These people, your family and friends, are extensions of your identity. They are your foundation, your history, your support system. If she truly loves you, she may not always agree with them, but she will respect them. A woman who values you understands that these relationships matter to you. So she'll make an effort to show courtesy and respect, no matter what differences may arise. A woman who dismisses or devalues your loved ones is ultimately devaluing you. This tactic often goes unnoticed, but let's be clear. Tension between her and the people who care about you is not normal. It is not. Real love doesn't demand you abandon those who care for you the most. It doesn't force you to choose between her and your support network. True love does not isolate. It builds and nurtures. If she consistently belittles, avoids, or disrespects your friends and family, understand this. She doesn't respect you either. Because a woman who values you will honor the connections that matter most to you. If she can't do that, she's showing you exactly where you stand in her eyes, alone, cut off, and diminished. The modern Stoic understands the importance of inner strength and discernment. Stoicism teaches us that our worth is not defined by others, but by our ability to stay true to ourselves and our values. If a woman is trying to break those bonds, she's testing your strength. Don't let her. Respect for your inner circle is a reflection of how much she respects you. Just as the old Stoic would say, he who is not a good man to his family will never be a good man in the world. The respect you show your loved ones is the same respect you deserve in return. A woman who can't respect the people you value will ultimately fail to honor the man you are. So pay attention. Don't ignore the signs. When your relationships with your friends and family are being undermined, it's not just about them, it's about you. Stand firm in your boundaries. Protect what matters. This is the path to true respect, true love, and true Stoic strength. Number 10, watch carefully when things go wrong. If every argument ends with you apologizing, especially when you clearly weren't at fault, you're not facing simple miscommunication. You're dealing with manipulation. And if this becomes a consistent pattern, it's time to pay attention. It starts subtly, almost imperceptibly. She forgets something important, but somehow you're blamed for not reminding her. She lashes out in anger, yet somehow you're accused of provoking her. She crosses a boundary, and suddenly you're the one questioning whether your standards are too high. This isn't just frustrating, it's destructive. This is manipulation at its core, and it's designed to confuse you, to make you doubt your own memory, your judgment, and even your sanity. What you're experiencing is called gaslighting, one of the most insidious and damaging forms of emotional control. It's a tactic that turns the tables, making you believe that you are the problem, even when you're not. It distorts reality, slowly chipping away at your confidence and peace of mind. The more you accept this, the more you'll start to question yourself, your truth, and your worth. Over time, it takes a toll on your mental well-being. A man caught in this cycle starts apologizing for things he never did, doubting his own perceptions, and losing himself piece by piece. He no longer feels like a confident, strong individual. He feels small, uncertain, and powerless. And that's exactly what she wants. This is not love, it's psychological warfare. It's a woman who can't own her mistakes is incapable of building a healthy relationship. She'll drain your spirit, erode your self-worth, and leave you questioning your own reality until you no longer recognize the man you once were. And the worst part? If you stay, this will only get worse. You must understand this. No relationship is worth losing your soul. If you see this pattern developing, don't make excuses. Don't rationalize it. Walk away. Because the longer you stay, the more of yourself you'll lose. This is one of the most critical psychology tips when it comes to relationships. Love advice from the most seasoned mentors will tell you never let anyone diminish your sense of self worth. Dating tips emphasize the importance of self respect and maintaining your integrity. If you find yourself constantly on the defensive, questioning your worth and apologizing for things you never did, it's time to reevaluate the relationship. You deserve more than someone who seeks to tear you down. Hey, my friend, thank you for sticking with me until the end. Now, take a moment to really digest what you've just heard. These 10 signs aren't small, harmless quirks. These are serious red flags. If you're seeing any of these behaviors, it's time to walk away. Your energy, your confidence, your sense of self worth are far too valuable to let anyone take them from you. I know it can be hard to start over, and yes, change is intimidating. But staying in a toxic relationship won't fix anything. It will only leave you with regret and frustration. Don't settle for anything less than respect and love that builds you up. Remember, walking away is a sign of strength, not weakness. It's about choosing your peace, your happiness, and your future. A woman who truly loves you will support you, encourage you, and walk beside you, never against you. If you're in a situation like this, don't stay silent. Share your story with us in the comments below. It could be the wake-up call someone else needs. If this message resonated with you, hit that subscribe button for more insights that every man needs to hear. And don't forget to like and share this video with someone who needs to hear it too. You deserve a love that lifts you up, never one that drags you down. Stay strong and remember, you're worth it.